The Alabama Crimson Tide trying to bounce back this year after an up and down season for Kalen DeBoer in year number one. I look at what's coming back on this team, and a lot of what has made me very bullish on Alabama is how the recipe was applied at Michigan 2 years ago, how the recipe was applied at Ohio State this past year. Now a similar recipe is trying to be applied at Alabama. Having guys that could go to the NFL deciding to return, even though they don't necessarily have to. That's big. I think Alabama has continuity and focus. You're already hearing about the players in the locker room saying out with the old, like we needed new leadership. The leadership now that's on this roster, they feel really good about. Sounds like they're really unified and they're anxious to kind of rewrite the messaging about what Alabama's capable of this upcoming season. They have some big names returning, like Ryan Williams at wide receiver, Jeremy Bernard at wide receiver. I think the offensive line should be pretty good with Brailsford at center, Caden Proctor at left tackle. But it's mainly the defense that I think most people feel really good about. Yeah, they lose some quality guys like Jahad Campbell's amazing, great player. But you look at what's back, there's a lot that's back on the defensive side. They have 9 starters returning, and most of those guys that are returning on defense were underclassmen, freshmen in some cases that were thrust into the starting lineup that decided to come back, hone in, and a big leap can be expected to be made from year 1 to year 2 in the program. Also, comfort level within Kane Wommack's scheme. It's a new defense. It's a new offense. There was a lot more transition at Alabama last offseason than people realized. And I think it was going to be tough for Kalen DeBoer to do it exactly how he wanted to do it because the expectation from within the locker room is that things were done a certain way under Nick Saban in the previous regime. So now they're moving more and more towards becoming Kalen DeBoer's type of team. I think that's going to be really beneficial for the continuity and the alignment they're going to have from head coach to player to assistant coach, what have you. The alignment's going to be really, really solid moving forward. They also did a great job in the recruiting class. Big reason why is they landed a big-time quarterback. Now, Keelan Russell, will he start? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I do know that he'll be entrenched in the quarterback competition with guys that staff feels great about. Now, I look at Ty Simpson, and I was told by the staff that Ty Simpson might be the most talented guy on the roster 2 years ago. And at that time, he wasn't quite ready to be the guy. Just mentally or maturity-wise, just wasn't quite ready to take the reins and go. As a result, Jalen Milroe becomes a starting quarterback, has a great couple years as the starting quarterback. But Ty Simpson now, after sitting back, learning, focusing on development, becoming tougher, becoming stronger, getting a better grasp of the offense, he might be poised to kind of cash in on that potential that's always been there. But if he can't do it, it might be a true freshman. And Keelan Russell, by all accounts, is about as talented as it comes, one of the highest ranked recruits in the history of Alabama football. And now he comes in as the possible face of the franchise in the years to come. Now, in my opinion, I think it's probably beneficial for it to be Ty Simpson for at least a year, maybe 2, and then give way to Keelan Russell at some point down the road. If you look at development, look at Arch Manning. Arch Manning went in with tons of expectations, but he learned from the veteran for a couple years, and now he's poised as a redshirt sophomore to become the starting quarterback of a championship contender. I think that's a good approach. While everyone wants to play early, might not be best for your long-term development to be forced onto the field as a true freshman. So if there is a way to bridge from Ty Simpson to Keelan Russell, don't forget about Austin Mack. The staff really likes Austin Mack. They brought him with them from Washington when they got the job, and the addition of Ryan Grubb on offense cannot be understated. I think Grubb does a great job of creating accountability within the offensive meeting room, and I think the mix between Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, the rest of the staff is going to be really seamless because of the expectations and the amount of comfort they have working together for 17 of the past 19 years. I look at the schedule, and I think the schedule's tough. Like I said earlier, schedule's always tough in the SEC, but a non-conference game on the road in the early going on August 30th against Florida State's a really tricky game. You get Wisconsin also at home. So you have 2 non-conference games against Power 5 competition. I think that's good to figure out where you're at. And Alabama, I think, to be honest with you, should probably be a favorite against both those games. Then you go on the road to Georgia after a bye week. That'll be a very tough game. As always, Tennessee comes to you. You're at South Carolina on October 25th. Should be a very tricky one before a tough November schedule that includes LSU, Oklahoma, and a road game at Auburn. I think it'll be a tough schedule for sure. But Alabama, with the continuity returning defensively, with consistency at quarterback, and quality pieces around the quarterback, they should be really well poised to have a big bounce back year in year number 2 for Kalen DeBoer.